And hello and welcome, as usual, to another fine edition of It's a Sports Show. I try to come up with something different for the opening. It just doesn't happen. Sorry.
You're really struggling with that opening.
I gotta come up
with
I
something.
need something fresh. As, of course, the usual Dolphin Paul. I'm Scott Cray, and plenty to talk about today. Usually, sometimes we sit down. This is how we do the show. We sit down, literally, 10 minutes before the show, and we say, what do you want to talk about?
They might have figured that out by now if they watch the show a few times.
More than likely. So
first of all, I think we should say, although our Rhode Island viewers won't catch it, but happy Thanksgiving to all our Mass viewers, because the show will be on before Thanksgiving in Massachusetts. Rhode Island, it won't be on until next Tuesday because it's
deep in the heart of
Thursday
Seekonk
broadcast. Deep in the heart of Seekonk. So
Absolutely.
happy Thanksgiving. And everybody sit down.
One holiday down, one to go. You know,
it's one of my favorite holidays.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
you get to eat and watch football.
Well, it kicks off the holidays, and you get together with family, some good, some bad. And
what do you do for the whole morning after Thanksgiving? Sleep?
No, not really. I go to work.
Shopping. Oh, you work? You go to work on Friday?
I kind of have to.
That's what happens. You get paid the big bucks.
I like to save money.
I thought this was your job.
I like to. This is my full-time job right here. I'm working.
Don't you get paid enough?
I like to save money, but I'm not one of those guys who wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go save 20 cents on a TV.
I am.
You are? A lot of people do.
And by the way, it's more than 20 cents.
Okay.
It's at least 35.
So it's a little more, but it kicks off the spirit of the holidays, Thanksgiving, and a nice turkey. I only have turkey once a year. I don't know about you. Maybe twice. You know?
Yeah, I'm still looking to try a turducken sometime.
A turducken?
Either a turducken or the whole, you know when they drop the turkey into the kettle of grease?
Yeah.
Deep fried. That's what I want to try.
No, that's not good.
Oh,
My wife's got a big family. We get a lot of people, nice big drums and food and stuff
Bigger
like that.
vat of grease, that's all.
Bigger vat of grease.
Drop that thing into a boiling pot of grease.
2 football games on, which we'll get to later.
Yep, we'll talk a little football in a bit. We might even try to touch base a little with this Fisher incident in Detroit with the Red Wings. But first, of course, we might even...
That's our breaking news.
I call it the annoying pen knock.
Oh.
we might even
it's
get
breaking
to
news
some
here on Tuesday as we tape the show.
Yes, we're taping the show on Tuesday. New to the airwaves, the possibility, of course, of a Red Sox Florida trade. Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell coming to Boston in exchange for...
Hanley Ramirez?
Yes, Ramirez, kind of like a younger guy type situation on our end, which no surprise.
And Annabelle.
Annabelle.
I thought it was a girl at first. I said,
no girls
what
playing
girl
football.
plays for the Red Sox?
There's no
Annabelle
crying in
Sanchez.
baseball. You know, it's almost like a typical thing with Florida. Every so many years, they do the whole, all right, let's get rid of anybody worth any value to us, anybody that's got any money on the books. Let's get rid of them, pick up some prospects. You know what's going to happen next? About 2-3 years, they'll win a World Series. That's what they do. I don't know how they do it.
Well, let's be fair to Florida. They can't really sustain, they're not in one of those top markets, if you will, so they really can't sustain a tremendous payroll. They'll never get that back. I mean, there's other issues. They play in Dolphin Stadium, which
is a bad thing to do in the first place. I mean, you must be excited, though, that within a couple of years, the Marlins are going to be leaving that stadium. There must be some effect on...
Yeah, there'll be no infield for the first few Miami Dolphin home games, which is terrible.
Playing and tripping where second base normally is.
That's true.
It's not a good thing.
You say it, but I mean, it looks ugly on TV, and they're going to play in that dirt. But
and Miami Dolphin fans are all about looking pretty for their football team.
Absolutely, we'll get to that later. But the Red Sox might benefit from this fire sale now.
Well, I sure as heck hope that they will. It's kind of pointless to go through with the trade otherwise. You know, Josh Beckett, I'm stating the obvious, you know. Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell, a lot of people are all over Josh Beckett, loving it. Not loving Mike Lowell because of the stats he put up. I feel just the opposite. I'm a little concerned with Josh Beckett, and I love Mike Lowell coming into Boston. Although you mentioned off the set, it might not be a situation of him staying.
Well, I think they had to take Mike Lowell in order to get Josh Beckett.
It was a package deal.
If you remember back at the trading deadline when we had that talk about A.J. Burnett, they wanted to throw in Mike Lowell, but the Red Sox at the time felt like they didn't want to take on Mike Lowell. Mike Lowell's getting $9 million a year for the next 2 years, which is a lot for a guy whose batting average dropped 60 points.
It did.
And hit 236. Now, he is a Gold Glove Yeah, and I say that with a little trepidation. But he had a Gold Glove year in 2005.
Right.
But his batting average stinks. Now, people are hoping that he'll come to the Red Sox and, maybe respark, regenerate, a change of scenery.
Well,
We've
not
heard
just
that
coming
a
to the
million
Red
times.
Sox, but how about jumping over to the American League? We've seen it before, and it's the exact reason why I'm not crazy about Josh Beckett. We'll get to that in a minute, but we're seeing Lowell going from where the pitching is better, although the argument is the pitching better or the hitter's not as good, but I believe the pitching is better. Not that that's why his average dropped 60 points, but everybody's entitled to have a bad year, and from the only thing I'm not crazy about Lowell is he's 31 years old.
Well, I think Lowe. I think you're focusing on the wrong portion of this trade. Personally,
Yeah,
I
a
think
lot of
Lowe
people
is a trade-in, a throw-in.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Beckett is the guy that they want, probably the best pitching prospect in free agency. I was trying to come down hard on one side of this trade, either for it or against it.
Right.
But, and I hate to ride the fence, but this is one of those trades that you really probably can't come up with a definitive, it was good, it was bad, until 2-3 years, until you see how Josh, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, Hanley Ramirez and Anibal Sanchez, maybe Ramirez will start to play right away, but these guys, you're not going to know how good they are for 2-3 years, number one. Number two, Josh Beckett has great stuff. Could be the next Pedro.
At times.
The
problem
problem
is, he had a
is-
15-6 year. Other than that, he's always been a 500 guy for the
Well,
most part.
he's been hurt. I mean, that's a big problem. He's been on the DL like 9 times. He's only 25 years old.
A lot of blister problems.
Blister problems, which is kind
Seems
of
like
odd.
Derek Lowe to me all over again. They should have just held on to Derek Lowe.
Well, I think he's got a lot more
Not a-
potential than Derek Lowe.
Well,
He
not-
throws 97 miles an hour.
Derek Lowe's not all that bad of a player, although he had blister problems, so-so seasons, but was very good when it came time for playoffs. Same thing with Josh Beckett. Everybody seems to want to remember the 2003 playoffs where this guy was untouchable, quite possibly one of the best pitching performances that I've ever seen in the playoffs alone. But there's more than just that going on here. Like I said, the guy's a 500 pitcher for the most part. Does he have potential? Yeah. Well, what is he, 25? When's that potential going to start coming around?
Well, I mean, he wasn't 500 last year. He was 15-8, I believe.
Right. I think it was 15-6.
15
Aside
and 6,
from
I'm
last
sorry.
year. Aside from last year.
Well, I mean, that's what you're going to go on. He's only 25, so he hasn't even reached his peak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of potential there. There's an article in Tuesday's Journal from our good sports editor friend Art Martone.
Yep.
He's really high in the trade, and it lists all the positives about Josh Beckett. I mean, the big thing is, can this guy stay healthy enough?
Right.
But, I mean, if you think of, this is what everybody's banking on, Schillen coming back from a terrible year, Josh Beckett with some good stuff, and Papelbon, I mean, between Beckett, he's only like 6 months older than Papelbon.
Right.
So essentially, there you're getting a Papelbon with a lot of experience. If he can stay healthy and minimize his
Let's talk
DL
about that.
appearances.
Kind of start to look at the big picture. Let's pretend this trade goes through no sweat, and it looks like it will. We got Papelbon, assuming we put him into the starting rotation because
He was 15-8, by the way, last year.
Oh, it was 15-8. See, I was giving you a little more credit.
3.38 ERA, which is
Great numbers.
respectable.
But the problem is I can't go by just 1 year. He had a great year, but prior to
He
that,
was
it was a
MVP at
500.
the 2003 World Series.
Right. 2 instances. Last year he had a good season. Playoffs in
He's only
03.
25 years old.
Outside of
What
that,
do you want, a 20-year history?
the guy's been around for 5-6 years. Outside of that,
Hey, he's a young
no
pitcher, though.
more than a 500 pitcher. Hey, I'm not saying that this is a bad pickup. It just concerns me because although he doesn't have any shoulder issues at this point, blisters seem to be something that when a pitcher gets it, it just does not seem to go away. It's a constant problem.
Well, again, the health issue with him is the main issue. That's what everybody's worried about. I mean, he was 15-8, but he's hardly, I don't have the exact stats in front of me, but he hasn't pitched a lot of innings in 1 year. He's never been a workhorse type like Kurt Schillen.
Right.
Everybody agrees that he's got great stuff. He's got
Right.
that fastball. He's got a killer curveball. He's trying some other pitches. But again, he's had the blister issues and a couple of other issues, and he's never really completed a full season. So you're getting a lot of potential and proven potential, whereas with Hanley Ramirez and Anibal Sanchez, you really don't know.
Right.
Now, could Hanley beat Jeff Bagwell? Maybe. Could they be busts? Maybe. I mean, there's a big unknown. You gave up a couple of prospects, but unlike years past, number one, you're not giving up prospects in July where you only got Josh Beckett for half a year.
Right.
You got the guy for 2 years.
Right.
He's probably going to do arbitration this year. You might have to pay maybe $5 million this year, $5-6 million.
Still not bad if he puts up
reasonable
good numbers.
money. That's great money.
Right.
And, you know, you're getting him for more than just a stretch run. He's still very young. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential there. And prospects are only prospects. We just don't know. He could be a Tony Amos Jr. And Ramirez and Anibal Sanchez. Who knows? I mean, they still got Papelbon. They still got Del Carmen, Hansen. So, for once, the farm system is full,
right.
And sometimes that's why you fill up the farm system
that's exactly,
to bring some other guys in.
That's exactly what it seems like. Is the farm? We're bragging about how good and how quickly our farm system has turned around. Yet it's only being utilized to be thrown into trade offers, as opposed to hanging on to these guys and seeing if somebody's going to turn out to be a stud.
How many guys can you hang on to?
True.
And who knows how many of these guys? I mean, they're all prospects, but are they all going to be Major League Baseball players?
Right.
Not really. And again, you're getting a kid who is 25 years old.
Yep.
Granted, I mean, I don't foresee him. I would say he's at least serviceable at best for another 7-8 years, and I think that's the bottom of scenario for him.
Right.
And I think it could give you a couple of real good years, and they've kind of solidified the front of the rotation with this kid.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Schilling comes back and Papelbon.
So we'd have Beckett and Schilling. Papelbon goes into the starting rotation, which I think is a great idea. A lot of people are talking about flip-flopping him. Hey, you got to determine a role for this guy. And
now
keep
think
him
about
there.
those 3 pitches there. If it's a big if.
Right.
If Schilling regains some of his form.
Right.
And, you at least have the threat of a real good pitching staff.
I think we need to go even deeper than that, and we can find even better than Schilling, because, I'm a big fan of, what's his name from...
Arroyo?
Thank you. Arroyo. You know what I mean? Younger and has a good arm himself.
Yeah, but I don't think Arroyo's ever going to be a top 1 or 2. I mean, I think he's going to be the middle to the back of the rotation.
So who'll be final in that rotation?
Well, there's talk now of what are they going to do with either Wells or Clement. There's talk that they might trade.
Clement, yeah.
They might trade one of those guys. And
Clement's going to be tough to trade with the year that he had, I think.
I
like Clement.
It's a hard call with Wells. Wells won 15 games for you, so a lot of people are going to argue that you're bringing in Beckett to give you the same number of wins if you get rid of Wells. But, I mean, the guy is 42 years old, so I don't know.
What if we throw one of those last 2 guys into the bullpen? As a possibility. Arroyo, actually.
But this just gives him some flexibility. There's talk also that Mike Lowell could be flipped if the Red Sox take a portion
I don't like that
of
idea.
his salary.
You mentioned that, and I
Why
hadn't
are you so infatuated with Mike Lowell?
Well, because the guy can put up numbers. Take a look at prior to... I know, you're going to talk about the most recent. All right, last year...
That's what we should go on.
Yes, he hit 236.
You talk about Josh Beckett's bad numbers, and you talk about Mike Lowell's good numbers. You're kind of contradicting yourself. I'm going to put you under the fruit tree.
No, I'm not contradicting myself, because I'm talking about... What I'm saying in both instances is I don't want to just go by last year. On both cases, I want to go by... prior years. And you're saying there aren't much numbers with Beckett. You take a look at Lowell. Prior to last year, he averaged 24 homers, 94 ribbies. So some of those a couple of bad years brought those numbers down. I think he could do much better, not only in the American League, but in Fenway Park. No
juice?
Mike Lowell, no. Great not great third baseman, but like you mentioned, Gold Glove third baseman. I think if he can bring that average up and work with Papa Jack there, I think you're talking 40 home runs, easily 100 RBIs from this guy, even if he doesn't crank out 40. I'm telling you, remember that I said it.
Folks, this is coming from the guy who predicted the Bengals
I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there.
The Bengals would beat the Colts. So just 40 home runs? Are you out of your mind?
I'm watching the
guy hit 8 home runs last year.
40 home runs.
Unless they make steroids legal, he's not hitting 40.
35 to 40. How's that?
I think you're dreaming.
They see something in Lowell we don't see, or maybe just I see, perhaps.
They don't see anything in Lowell.
They see something in Lowell.
Florida said you better take Lowell if you want Josh Beckett.
No, they see something in Lowell that'll make up some of Manny Ramirez's numbers, because don't forget, we're still looking to get rid of him. Which, by the way, it's kind of funny that a big trade happens and it doesn't involve him whatsoever.
Well, by the way, this just in, I heard on sports radio on the way in from my good friends at 790 The Score.
Yep.
David Ortiz was quoted as saying that Manny's dead serious this time about being traded and
Good.
will not come back to Boston.
Well, guess what? Manny, we're dead serious about getting rid of your ass.
Leave my boy alone.
Fruit tree.
You flip-flop on Manny, you know?
I don't flip-flop on Manny.
Yeah, you put him under the fruit tree, then he goes on a 10, you're like, oh, I was wrong about him. Now you want to get rid of him
again. I was never wrong about him.
By the way,
go find video evidence that says that I turned back on.
Also went on Tuesday, Billy Wagner says the Red Sox have one of three teams that
don't mind that
he'd like
idea.
to go to. So, I don't think this, obviously the offseason's not over, so.
Hey, something else about Lowell possibly, if he stays and plays third, what about Euclid? What do we do with him? Do we throw him over to first, or do we now try to get rid of him as well?
Euclid might end up at first base.
Yeah. Is that you buzzing?
I think
what
that's
the
my phone.
heck is going on here?
Hey, wait a minute. Let me get rid of this. Okay.
Unbelievable.
It was Mike Lowell, obviously.
We're giving you a call.
He wants to come on. It's a sports show.
So what do you do with if you put Lowell at third, you put Euclid at first?
I think you give Euclid a shot at first. I'm not enamored with Euclid like everybody else.
Really?
We've seen enough of him to. I don't know.
Are you less enamored with Euclid than you are with Lowell? It doesn't sound like you care less about Lowell.
Well, Lowell or Euclid. Lowell, I know what you're saying. I mean, the possibility is there for him to resurrect his career, per se, and get back to the numbers. I mean, you said 40 home runs, which is, I think, he has no shot. But I think if he would, say, go from 8 home runs to 20, and the batting average of about 275, I think that would be productive.
If he bats 275, right, banks 20 out of the park, which I think is under what he's going to do, and then easily, the RBI number is where I'm at, okay? He'll easily put up over 100 RBIs. Now you're back to like Nomar stats at this point. And we all thought Nomar was a damn superstar.
I don't know where you're pulling these numbers from.
How can the guy not hit 100 RBIs in Fenway Park when he played in Florida, and over the past 5 years, beside last year, he averaged 94 a season? How can you not jack that up at least 6? In Fenway Park.
Last year he hit 58, so 100 minus 58 is not 6.
42 to go. Too much of last year's
the point is they're paying him
$9
million a year, so they're probably not going to get $9 million worth of production.
Absolutely,
now, if they hang on to him, which is a big if at this point,
they will.
You're saying that he could. I mean, let's put it this way: if he has an excellent year, maybe not pie in the sky numbers like you're talking about.
Yep.
Let's say he puts up 80 RBIs, okay, and 20 home runs.
Right.
Okay. And Josh Beckett wins 12 to 15 games. The trade, at least the first year going, will be a pretty good trade.
Yeah, the 100 RBIs and 35 home runs would be excellent.
I think Mike.
I got to tell you something. Another reason.
Mike Lowell is irrelevant at this point.
Another reason why he'll play good. They'll have to pitch to him when he's number 3 or 4 in that lineup, in place of Manny to protect Ortiz. Who do you put there?
What is in that
when you
coffee?
get rid of Manny, who do you put there? Who do you put there?
He's a throw-in to this trade. What don't you understand?
All right, play with me for a second. Let me reword that. Think in my mind for a second. Think in my mind for a second. Okay, let's say the guy can hit 35 home runs. Now, does he belong in the 3 or 4 spot? Or you judge him by his 6 that he hit last year?
If he hits 35 to 40 home runs, I will say he might. He's not going to be in the 3 or 4 spot.
I'm telling you, this guy's got more power than you think.
The deal is all about Josh Beckett, and you're drifting away from that for our viewers. They want to know about Josh Beckett, not Mike Lowell.
Hey, Mr. Blister, welcome to Boston. Can't wait to see Josh Beckett.
You're way off in this trade.
Over on the
You're
sidelines.
way off in this trade. Happy Thanksgiving, but you're way off in this trade.
His middle finger's got a little blister on it. That's going to be the problem. He's got to find a way to
Let me play the Florida Marlins just to see if you can grasp this whole idea.
Oh, the Marlins, actually.
Let me play the Florida Marlins.
We should talk about the
Dear
Marlins.
Mr. Lucchino.
Yeah.
You really want Josh Beckett?
You got to take Mike Lowell. I get it.
We'll take Hanley Ramirez and Annabella Sanchez. But in order for us to complete that trade, you got to take our stiff Mike Lowell, who would pay $9 million a year for 8 home runs.
Right. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, obviously you do.
Lucchino's best dealer yet, if he has anything to say, is Theo Epstein involved
Scott Cray,
in this?
the new Red Sox GM, has just extended Mike Lowell's contract. He's now 8 years at $180 million.
Hey, Theo, is he involved in this deal at all? Or is he done? Is his office cleaned up, or is he still
done.
around?
He's absolutely done. So
I thought he was sticking around for a while.
No, that was only for like 2-3 days. So the Red Sox...
What's the point in even talking about it then and saying he's going to stick around for a while if it's only for a few days?
That was 2-3 days to get it.
So
actually, they don't even have a GM as of now. They're interviewing all kinds of candidates.
Right. Yeah, they interview a couple for the second time.
Farrah, we got to talk a little NFL.
Absolutely. Oh, more than enough
That's
time.
it?
More than enough time.
6 or 7 minutes. We spent all this time talking about Josh.
Well worth it. We didn't even get to talk about Florida in this whole thing. That every 3 years they sell everything that's worth something, and then they go and win a World Series 2 years later. Somebody's got it.
Who's their GM? Can we get him?
Yeah, right? All right, so highlights first. How did Miami do, by the way?
Miami probably played their worst football game in years. They really did.
How come?
They played a horrible football game.
Yeah.
They played a terrible football game. There's going to be a lot of guys there, obviously, that aren't going to be on the team.
Right.
So Miami, unfortunately, is regressing a little bit, and the Patriots, who win every game, it seems like at the last play. If you're not a fan of the Patriots, it's getting kind of tired. It comes down to 2 minutes. The Patriots make a play, they win the game, blah, blah, blah. Woo!
Oh, come on. You make it sound like they're winning every week like they did last year. It's the first time they've won 2 in a row.
Well, this is the first time they've won 2 in a row, but it always seems like, I've been, obviously I was down in Miami where they beat Miami, and then now the Saints had a chance to tie it at the end.
And they did the same thing.
And even if the Patriots did stink, their division, Buffalo got trounced at San Diego.
Right.
By the way, Drew Brees, no, we didn't want to draft him. That draft pick is going to haunt me until the day I die. Miami got crushed by Romeo Crennel, so that's like losing to the Patriots 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
The Jets got killed by the Broncos, who lost to Miami the first week of the season. I don't know how, and the Broncos right now have to be considered one of the top teams in football.
Absolutely.
So the Patriots are sitting there at 6-4.
Yep.
Buffalo's 4-6, Miami 3-7. So they'd almost win by default. But hey, they got a lot of injuries. Give them credit. They find ways at the end to win. And I think one of the main reasons, and if you look at that whole division, what's the one common thing that the Patriots have that nobody else has?
Bill Belichick.
And?
An easier schedule the rest of the way.
And?
Their injuries are coming back.
The guy who goes like this.
Oh, Tom Brady? Yeah.
Well, they have a QB.
I guess they should give him some credit.
They have a QB.
You're right, though. The Patriots, you look at the way things are going right now, it might start progressing upwards from this point on because they're getting some players back from injury. Their schedule is a heck of a lot easier. Tom Brady,
They got a tough game this
him.
week at Kansas City, but after that, like I said, the Patriots could win 9 or 10 games. They're probably going to host a playoff game.
Right. It's
if
still
they
not
can
a
get
Super
by
Bowl
that,
team.
well, right now you'd have to say no, but if they can get by that, they'd go play probably at Indianapolis,
right,
who we'll get to in a couple minutes. But hey,
it's
give them
the
credit.
NFL.
They're 6-4. Yeah, if you get in a tournament
happen.
like Bill Parcells says, you never know. But Miami, Buffalo, the Jets, especially Miami and the Jets.
Right.
Obviously you need some work. They need a QB. They need some draft picks. They need some more Billy and Joes, if you will.
Well, Denver, along with you, is getting a lot of credit in the press for being one of the better teams in the NFL, despite the fact that Indianapolis won, rather, beating Cincinnati. I predicted Cincinnati would be the team to do it. You know what? Clear sailing the rest of the way now.
I thought Cincinnati would play a better football game. They came close, but I'll tell you, this Indy team is scary.
Play a better football game in what way? They put up, 37 points on the board?
I thought they'd win. They've had a chance to play 2 tough teams to move into that next category. They've lost to Pittsburgh and the Colts.
Right.
So obviously they're not ready for the big time yet.
No, and I don't think they're a Super Bowl team by any means.
And my 72 Dolphins have to be sweating a little bit because the Colts are 10-0.
Colts are looking good. They got a tough team this week in Pittsburgh. And
I believe that's at home.
At home in Indy. Right. It is in Indy. Roethlisberger looking to come back, so we all know what Roethlisberger is capable of.
If the Steelers have Roethlisberger, they have a shot to beat Indy at Indy. A tough shot. They'll have to play a good football game.
A better shot than Cincinnati did? Maybe I was the only one real high on Cincinnati, but...
I would say an equal shot. Probably a worse shot because they're on the road. I thought Cincinnati maybe at home could...
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't get it right when I said Cincinnati will beat Indy. However, okay?
Here it comes.
Hey, eventually I got to be right in my
Mike Lowell will
predictions.
quarterback the Steelers to victory.
Hey, Mike Lowell, man. He could end up with a perfect passer rating. By the way, both quarterbacks in that Cincy-Indy game had perfect passer ratings at halftime. Imagine that.
Listen, Carson Palmer, it's a breakout year for him, and Peyton Manning, he's just in another world. The whole team right now, they certainly have to be a Super Bowl favorite right
Definitely. Well, what I was looking to say was that while Indy did beat Cincinnati, I do think that one thing that Cincinnati did was show a chink in the armor of Indianapolis's defense. They were the first team to be able to put up some serious points on the board, and that might benefit Pittsburgh, especially Roethlisberger. They got to see what Cincinnati did to be able to score, because both defenses were not there. It would be like me and you playing defense.
I don't think Pittsburgh is the type of offense that Cincinnati is. Pittsburgh is more of a grind it out. So if they can control the ball and,
who else you want to talk about?
Keep Indianapolis's offense off the field, but it's a tough task. It's a tough task.
Indianapolis is a good team.
To beat Indianapolis.
How about Chicago Bears? Do we start taking them seriously? We talked a couple weeks ago about them. You brought them up. Well, and they're like the old Chicago Bears.
7-3.
You catch the ball, expect to be nailed.
They played Carolina at home, who's one of the top offensive teams in the NFC, who I think could be very well NFC representative. The Bears shut them down.
I agree.
Top offense, Kyle Orton, who's another guy that Miami didn't really need to draft.
Yep.
The QB rookie's doing a good job. They play at Tampa. They're both 7-3. That's a nice matchup this week.
You bet.
So, I mean, the Bears, I think Lovie Smith's doing a great job on defense. And Kyle Orton, who knows, he could be the quarterback of the future right now. I don't think their offense is strong enough to do any damage.
Possibly. Who's playing Thanksgiving? Not that.
We have Atlanta at Detroit. Atlanta lost a couple critical games at home.
The usual Detroit
And a great matchup Thursday afternoon. Denver at Dallas.
Right.
That's a good matchup.
The
Denver,
usual Dallas game.
A lot of people don't like Jake Plummer, or at least didn't like Jake Plummer. He hasn't thrown an interception in a long time.
He had a decent year last year, and he's just coming around again
I've always
this year.
been a fan of Jake Plummer. I thought he was in a bad situation in Arizona, and I'll tell you, that's a good matchup. Good. Sometimes you get stuck with turkeys, if you will, on Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that matchup. That's an excellent matchup.
Finally, how much time do we have left? I wanted to bring up this whole minute and a half, so I'll just say this real quick. T.O., 13 hours at this arbitration meeting, and they still have not come up with something? Of course, by the time people are watching us, they did. But 13 hours? Can you imagine 13 hours of listening to Mike Holmgren and whoever else went up there, ownership of Philly went up there to basically bash T.O.? Not that I'm a T.O. fan, and I don't think he doesn't deserve it. 13 hours.
It's unbelievable. How about this whole Philadelphia situation? We had our football preview show. Everybody thought Philly was the cream of the crop.
And they should have been.
They're 4-6 right now. Donovan McNabb out for the year. Is going to get that sports hernia fixed.
Their defense is all that's left, and they're spending too much time on the fan.
You got to the Super Bowl, but what a nightmare year this is.
John Turner must be hurting.
John Turner called it. I give him credit. He didn't like T.O. even when.
I'm curious to know if Philly fans are happier being a non-winning team without T.O. than it being a winning team with T.O.
Well, they probably feel that T.O. is.
It's a big piece of the pie.
Is a big reason why they're losing, that whole controversy thing.
Right.
I'm sure they don't want him. I wouldn't want him on Miami as much as we could use him.
Forget about it.
I think the guy's a big distraction.
That's about it on this show. DP, have a great Thanksgiving. What's your favorite kind of pie?
Oh, I can't say that. Is this a cable show?
Pecan is my favorite.
Pecan?
Thanks to
Custard.
Farrah and Mitch, as usual. It's a sports show at yahoo.com.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a great holiday, everybody.